Hello everyone, this is Korosh Erfani and today is Friday, March 20th, 2026. I would like first of all congratulate the first day of the new Iranian year, Nowruz, to all the Iranians and my compatriots who follow these English programs. And we are going to develop what is happening in the 21st day of the war. And in order to do so, I would like to show you a scheme that I did so that we can understand what is going on. Let's say that's the beginning of the 22nd day of the war, and that's why I titled this presentation as the current situation, War Day 22. So let's see for the current situation of the United States and Israel that initiated this war 22 days ago. What is exactly the circumstances, in which situation they are, and what they can do, and what would be the perspective for the coming days, weeks, or months. So the first thing um, anyone wants to believe in that there is some ways, to move forward, right? To do something. The Americans and Israelis must be able to do something in order to, make progress, get ahead. Is it possible? Uh, we cannot see that as a real possibility. Of course, theoretically, it exists. I don't know, sending the boots on the ground, for example, or bombing more, or getting the island of Hork, or whatsoever. But none of them are determining, none of them are essential for changing the current situation. So that's why they cannot move forward. And I think one of the reasons we have started maybe for more than 1 week just stagnating is because there is no any actions that can be done in this part. The idea of making progress that can be really, let's say, um, important and paradigm shifting. There is no paradigm shift, really. Militarily speaking, there is not. Of course, the Americans can try to do this and that, and they are, struggling, scrambling for doing so. But nobody believes in the importance and the participation of such an act or actions in changing fundamentally the situation. So, in the absence of a real move, we can say that this dyad of the United States and Israel cannot really move forward. This is one of the possibility that we can put aside because there is no such a possibility to move forward in response to the objectives that have been determined. Nothing is going in the right direction right now. I am describing all the aspects and facets of the impasse in which these two countries are right now. But let's see the other possibility. If they cannot move forward, maybe some people are talking about that. Maybe they can walk back. They can completely go away and say that okay, it's done, it's finished, we have won. Today, even President Trump repeated that we have already won, and now we can put an end to this war, right? So that's the idea of walking back. Accepting that nothing can go forward, and that's why we start working back. in order to see if we can put an end to this disaster or not? The answer is no. They cannot walk back. They cannot leave simply because uh, uh, the circumstances right now, as I am going to describe, you will see that it's getting worse and worse, hour after hour, day after day, and in such a conditions, you cannot really say that okay, we are done, we are over, and we are leaving. It doesn't work like that. Maybe that's one of the reason the United States is asking for uh, billions, or even some sources are saying trillions from the Arab countries in order to continue the war or stopping the war. We will see. But anyway, even theoretically, it's impossible to walk back. They cannot leave. They cannot get off of this situation. So that's why we can cancel, this possibility as well. All right. We cannot really theorizing on that, developing any hypothesis on that, because it's impossible to do so. It's impossible to produce such a situation where they escape, from whatever they did during 3 weeks. Impossible. So, if both of them are impossible, what would be the available chance for the United States and Israel? The only thing that I see is trying to stand still, right? Trying not to move forward, not to move back, just staying over there, lagging, lingering, and trying to, going slow in order to see what can happen beyond any possibility for them, because they don't have any possibility, right? So just trying to, lingering in such a way that at a given moment, at a specific time, maybe miraculously something happens and then they are saved, for example. Right? This is what they are thinking. And we know that with all the issues that are going on right now, for the gas price, for the oil export, for all the petrochemical materials that are necessary for pharmaceutical industry, for technological industry, and so on. It's impossible, to just to continue, just to keep on. It's impossible. So that's why we cannot really see that as a possibility, and therefore I put this one, impossibility for that. So if you see this scheme, any move uh, whatsoever is impossible for the United States and for Israel. And we are talking really, really about both, because both are now in a quagmire, a self-produced quagmire, and either they accept the idea of, completely being completely defeated, and then they will fall apart. Believe me, they will break down, both of them, or doing something extraordinary. I don't know what exactly, nuking Iran or what, but I don't see any important, predictable move right now for the United States and Israel. They are in a real impasse. That's the idea. Now, how we can be sure about this? How? What are the facts that can help us to know that they cannot do any important move? Let's see. Let's see some of these facts in order to get an idea about how the things are going on for Washington and Tel Aviv. First of all, uh, we got the news according to which United States sent a message, secret message, or by the secret channel, in order to bring the Iranians to the negotiation. Okay, some people are talking about that. They said Trump secretly contacts Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi and proposes negotiations to resolve this crisis. So, what would be the answer? According to this report, after having initiated the call, Araghchi responded directly, "No negotiation with you. You are untrustworthy. We cannot trust you anymore because we did it several times, and each time we saw that you are the slave of Israel and you cannot do whatsoever by yourself. So, no ceasefire." These are the terms of the report. Times have changed, and these offers no longer convince anyone. So you remember we talked about the loss of credibility and reliability of the United States across the world. This is it. Nobody wants to take these clowns, seriously. These criminals that change every hour their opinion and point of view and whatever they are saying. So no trust. So that's why uh, the possibility of opening a diplomatic channel to resolve the problem is almost zero, right? And they cannot act in a way that this is a real possibility. This is a real chance to get the Iranians against for negotiations or whatsoever for the ceasefire. There won't be such a thing. Now, on the other hand, to understand this real impasse, we can see that after saying almost 100 times that the Iranian lost everything, they don't have any missiles, they don't have any drones, and so on, the Iranian drones and missiles are raining, right, over the heads of the American bases in the region, Israeli territory, the Arab countries, the traitors Arab countries in the Persian Gulf, and so on. And look at how one of the serious uh, um, a newspaper, actually magazine, The Economist, is telling us about that. It said, although Donald Trump says he has destroyed 100% of Iran's military capability, the 0% that apparently remains is playing havoc with the global economy by chucking off 10 to 15% of its oil supply. We know that's a little more, right? It's a matter of 20 to 25%. But okay, 15%. But with what? With 0% of remaining Iranian military capability. And that's huge performance. Can you imagine if they had at least 1%, what could have been able to do with 0%? So that's it. You see, when a clone is elected by 85 million, I don't know how to call them, how to label them. This is the country that you get. This is the government that you get. The whole world is mocking, and laughing at Americans. You cannot announce every other hour the end of all the capabilities of the Iranians, and they are doing whatever they want. One of the things that they did, just with 0% of capability today, it's unbelievable because if this report is true, everything will change. So the news, the report was about the Iranians attempting to strike the Diego Garcia United States military bases. Okay, so we are talking about far from Iranian territory, right? So what was supposed to exist for the Iranian missiles was at most something like 2,000 kilometers. And the Israelis were telling the world that we are at risk, that's an existential threat to us because we are actually uh, covered by these 2,000 kilometers capability of the ballistic missiles. Now we are talking about from Iran to Diego Garcia basis, something like 4,000 kilometers, which means that Iranians most probably have an intermediate range class IRBM able to go over there. And if it's true, because the report says that they intercepted the Iranian missiles, okay, but it's not important. What's important is that Iran now has the capability of changing completely the map of war. 4,000 kilometers means almost all the European capitals are being under cover of these missiles. So we are talking about Paris. We are talking about all the European countries, including even London, based on the location of launching this missile. So from now on, Iran is able, if this report is true, it's able to strike, the Persian Gulf, Israel, all the Western Asia, and parts of the South Asia, plus Europe. So, if it's true, from tomorrow, all the European leaders have to have a serious talk among themselves in order to know what they are going to do on the grounds of this report that Iranians are able to launch the missiles with the range of 4,000 kilometers, reaching Garcia and of course reaching a great part of Europe. Now, if the things are going so bad for the United States and Israel, what would be really the consequences? In order to have an idea about this, let's see what are the facts and how these facts are undeniable right now through the different sources that we have, right? And once we review all these facts, at the end we can have a conclusion to have an idea about what is going to happen to these two countries that started the war, United States and also Israel. All right. First of all, we can see that Iranian missile programs has not been destroyed, has not been even weakened, but on the contrary, as opposed to all the Trump administration is telling, or Netanyahu was telling us, you know, it's functional and most probably with a lot of surprises, like the one that we were talking about with a range of 4,000 kilometers. So, Iranian missile program is still there, is functioning, is working, and the missiles are just raining down, almost everywhere in that part of the hemisphere. The second, they went there in order to put the Iranian nuclear program, done completely, breaking it down to zero. It didn't happen. They bombed, of course. They destroyed several facilities, nuclear centers, or institute of research. But at the same time, we don't see any sign that the Iranians are not able to restart their nuclear program just the day after, the end of war, hypothetical end of war. In the aftermath of the war, the Iranians are able to again enrich uranium, use the 420 kilogram uranium for getting at least 10, 11 nuclear warhead if they want, right? And doing whatsoever, because from that moment it would be impossible for the United States and Israel, after having been defeated, right, by Iran, to come back to take care of now the reconstruction of the nuclear facilities, for example. That's why Iran would be able, for sure, to rebuild its nuclear industry, nuclear activities easily and naturally, normally. Why? Because they couldn't destroy completely. All right. What about the Iranian government? The Iranian government is still there, right? Tulsi Gabbard was telling us 2 days ago that the Iranian government is degraded but intact. It's there. It's still in place and is functioning. Of course, Khamenei, as the supreme leader, was killed. Now we have another Khamenei, right? Uh, and in his first announcement today for the Iran Persian New Year, he is describing a kind of strategy for Iran, right? Because it's a very long letter or statement that he published. And in this statement, you can see that it's a matter of an Iran that will be extremely uh, powerful economically, militarily, politically, and of course, he describes why the Iranians have to organize themselves to do so, right? The argument is very explicative in order to convince effectively everyone that we have to be engaged in that. We have to set such a strategy about. That's the idea. Because what is now in Iran at stake is survival, but in the aftermath of the war, it's not anymore the question of survival. Iran will have survived. Then it will be completely different for the coming years, to be engaged in a different strategy with a different structure for the economy, for the military, army, and everything else. At least this is what we can detect, in this statement. Later, if there is something that can modify that, is another question. Now we can see that in this famous National Security Council of the Islamic Republic, there are really the hardliners, right? Because every every moderate people at the top of the structure have been removed, have been killed, assassinated by Israel or the United States, and now we don't have anything but the hardliners. And of course, they are taking over the whole power in Iran, and the Islamic Republic that will face Israel and the United States after the war, in the post-war period, will be much more radical than what we know as Islamic Republic for 47 years, right? So these are one after another the elements that are showing that and the plan of the Zionist and the Epstein class didn't really work, and everything is going in the opposite sense and direction of what they wanted. The Strait of Hormuz is completely under control of Iranians. Look at this. This image is very significant. Look at that. The Strait of Hormuz, that's the first image that we have for the first time, 10-second just, showing 3,200 ships and 40,000 sailors. What they are doing, just waiting. They don't have any other choice but waiting for the permission, for the authorization of the Iranian government, Iranian army, maybe to pass. And for now, it's a complete blockade over there. And what the United States can do for that, nothing, absolutely nothing. After having requested the help of the whole world and getting the help by nobody, including European and allies. Now the United States is alone, and we don't see how they can act. Actually, Trump started to change completely the rhetoric. Here you can see he's saying that the U.S. no longer needs the Hormuz Strait. Right? Donald Trump stated that the United States is not interested in the Hormuz Strait because it is needed by others. Look at what he says. We have already defeated Iran. We know that, and every strike that is right now being done by the Iranian side is just by the 0% the economist was emphasizing, right? With 0%. So we have already defeated Iran. We don't need the strait. We don't use it. That's it. If there are the countries that are interested in the Strait of Hormuz, go and open it. Not us. Not anymore. Even though the global economy is going to, collapse, even though even the American economy is going to fall apart, but we cannot do anything. So that's why instead of saying that we cannot reopen the Strait of Hormuz, we don't have capacity, we don't have military capability, we don't have plan, we are trapped. Instead of that, says that, we don't need that. Those who need can go and take care of this. That's for the Strait of Hormuz. Impossible, completely impossible to open it. And of course, the consequences are there. And we know that the United States had even to remove completely the sanctions of certain Iranian oil stockpile in order to bring the Iranian oil in the market. And the Iranian says that we don't have any reserves right now to bring into the market, which means that without or with sanctions, it doesn't change anything, because Iran doesn't want really to improve the situation for the United States. And it doesn't make sense, so they don't do that, right? So the U.S. Air Force, the U.S. bases in the region, U.S. Navy are actually exposed right now. And people are talking about, paper tiger. But why? Because they cannot defend themselves. Look at this. U.S. Victoria base in Baghdad, Iraq, struck by multiple drones and is now ablaze. Right? They cannot defend themselves. In Kuwait, in United Arab Emirates, in Iraq, constantly they are under attack. What about other facts? Just to give you an idea about how deep is really the impasse of Tel Aviv and Washington. The Houthis, the Houthi of Yemen are coming and have a lot of plans. They are extremely radical, extremely fighters, resilient, and they are able to do the things that nobody can imagine to the region, including to the Saudi Arabia, right? They can completely shut down or even break down the oil facilities of Saudi Arabia during, let's say, 1 or 2 weeks, in such a way that Saudi Arabia will be completely out of the list of producer and exporter of oil for at least a few years. This is the capability of Yemenis, if they want really, because they are neighbor, of Saudi Arabia. They are able really to hit hard that country. Not only that, the Yemenis will be able to now block completely the Red Sea, and from that moment, if there is a shutdown, like in the Hormuz Strait, in the Strait of Bab el Mandab, in the Red Sea, that would be a huge blow for the American economy, European economy, Israeli economy, and also the whole thing, the global economy on the whole. Right? This is it. This is just one of the cards Iranian hasn't been playing yet, and now they are preparing effectively the Yemenis to enter in this game. So uh, right now we can see that uh, the American Air Force starts to lose the most important elements that they have, including fighter jets of F-35, and it's showing that the U.S. Air Force is vulnerable, right? Is highly vulnerable from now on, from now that the Iranians have a kind of technology, software, hardware, or new trick that can trap effectively these stealth jet fire and do whatever they want, right? Chasing them. So this is an end for the freedom of the American and Israeli plane, over the Iranian sky. What about other aspects like financial catastrophe in the United States with something like $1 trillion lost in the stock markets, in the U.S. Financial markets, just today? $1 trillion. Can you imagine that? This is what's happening. This is when you don't calculate anything and you go to a war just because the FC file, just because you want to, you know, uh, uh, to be really a good slave for your Zionist master. This is what happens then, you know. And let me show you the situation in the stock market today, according to some sources, like here, CNN Business. So as you can see, Dow Jones almost 1%, S&P 500 for 1.5, and Nasdaq 2%. So here we are talking about as a total $1 trillion lost. So this is it. This is some of the aspects Let me add also the price of oil. Right now, we are talking about oil price of $120 for the Brent oil price, Brent indicators. But if you want to know the reality, is that those who are buying the actual tankers, okay, for example, uh, in Oman, there are the tankers full of oil, and they are ready to be, sold. So over there, the people are buying now the oil something like 150 to $170 per barrel. So 190, 120 just as indicator, but actually, in fact, now the people are buying it at 150 to 100, even 70, anything available, they are ready to pay, the highest price for that. So, what Trump is going to do with the consequences of that in the United States? Because now we have the gas price at something like with 26 to 30% more than just before starting the war. You know, what about the consequences on the food productions? What about all the chemicals that are necessary for the pharmaceutical industry, for agricultural activities, for production of the high technology products? These are some questions, that can be posed to Trump administration and Trump himself. And the interesting aspect that they don't have anything to say about that. The Iranians right now have the total control of the Strait of Hormuz. They can decide about which tanker can go, and they can tax them. And generate more and more income for a country that is under attack of Israel and the United States. These are the facts. The fact is that the United States had lost several radars of thought system in the region and is not able even to detect the arrival of the Iranian missiles and drones in several parts of the Persian Gulf and also over Israel. The air defense that was promised to the Arab countries over there is gone, and has shown that it's not functional. And can you imagine that in these conditions, Trump is asking, just to give you an idea about the depth of the impasse, is asking, according to journalists, an Omani journalist that is telling this news, a very important piece of news on BBC Arabic. Look at that. He's talking about Trump asking, demanding from Arab states, what do you want? You want that we continue the war in order to destroy Iran, or you want to that we stop the war in order to avoid your economy getting destroyed? What do you want? Tell us, because there are two different prices, right? If you want that we continue the war, that would be very disastrous and very costly. So you have to pay something like, pay attention, $5 trillion, please. $5,000 billion if you want that we keep continuing bombing Iran, destroying Iran, etc., etc. This is the cost: $5 trillion. You remember the both war of the United States in Afghanistan and Iraq had something like $5 to $7 trillion for years and years, of course. But here he wants that, in an anticipated somehow, a kind of, let's say, down payment, right? A down payment. Later, he will ask for an additional just $4 or $5 trillion more. So that's the way the Zionist wants, the Zionist entity and also the United States want to deplete completely the Arab countries. You know, uh, it's a matter of billions or trillions that they have after having, exported oil for 50 years, let's say, half a century, and everything that they accumulated, they saved. Now, Mr. Trump and, of course, the band, the Zionist band that is with him, are trying really to draw all of this money from the Arab countries, to deplete them, to steal the money, right? In every possible way, in every conceivable manner that you can imagine. So $5 trillion if you want that we continue, but if you want that we stop, we have spent a lot of money. Give us please $2.5 trillion, $2,500 billion. I don't know if it's true or not, but this Omani journalist is, advancing these numbers, and some other sources are also talking about Trump anyway requesting, maybe not with these numbers, but anyway requesting from the Arab country to pay the United States for the war that is waging for Israel. That's interesting. Israel ordered this war because of the Epstein file. Trump is carrying it out, and now they want, to be paid by the Arab countries that are losing almost $1 billion every, depending on which country, but in average $1 billion per day because of this situation. So when you see, I can add, more and more to this list. Look at what they got in the Gerald Ford aircraft carrier, in the Abraham Lincoln one. Some of them have been somehow hit or threatened and got away. Another one was on fire. So a real mess is taking shape for the United States and for Israel. Talking about Israel, let me show you something. Some sources are reporting, they says that Israel's greatest fear is not Iran but Hezbollah. Why? The occupation forces were defeated at the Lebanon border. You know that for 1 week the Israeli army wants now to enter in the Lebanese territory, but they cannot. Why? Because every time they want to do, to take shape in order to start their attack, they are counter-attacked by Hezbollah. So that's why there are more and more Israeli tanks that are blown up over there, and it looks like many Israeli soldiers have been killed or injured. Right? So impossible for the Israeli army to act. And you remember, I had told in one of my videos that Hezbollah, by starting this new set of attacks, wanted finally to put an end to the way Israeli were hitting them and they couldn't do anything, right? Which means aerial attack, through air, and they don't have any defense, right? Hezbollah is very powerful for the ground battle, right? And now Israelis are entrapped, and they want to go inside Lebanon, and Hezbollah is waiting them and are chasing them with many tanks, completely destroyed, and more soldiers that are killed, that are injured, and maybe very soon we are going to have even the soldiers that will be captured if they go really inside Lebanon. So, where we can find, tell me, where we can find any positive sign of anything that can be considered as progress, as, I don't know, success for the Zionist entity and for the United States. We don't have that. We don't have it, but what we have for sure is that they are going to have more and more issues here and also in Israel. I can tell you that all the predictions are negative without any exception, unless you want to hear the one of Pitexet, Marco Rubio, Trump, Caroline Levitt, or someone like this. Otherwise, any rational person, any unbiased analyst is telling us that these two countries, United States and Israel, are going to have really, really a very bad future. They are talking about the possibility of collapse, the possibility of, you know, diminishing the economy, fading from the international chessboard, or the things like that. Why? Because when you miscalculate something and you insist not to stop it as soon as possible, this is what you get. Look at this. Here, the Daily Mail is talking about the fact that President Trump is losing more and more its approval rating. Trump's approval rating sinks to lowest ever as Americans turn on Iran war and skyrocketing gas prices. And don't forget, we are just at the beginning of the catastrophe. We are not in the middle, we are not at the end, we are just at the beginning of all the economic crisis, social crisis, and political crisis that are coming in the United States. I saw a post that is very interesting. Look at this. It says Democrats are planning Project 2029. Don't forget that we are in 2026. A plan to jail Trump, his family, and members of the current Trump administration, which is very interesting, very funny. But what the Democrats are refusing and denying to believe is that there won't be such a thing. We are not going to get there because they think that there would be a midterm elections in a few months in the United States, and then in 2028 there would be a presidential elections. These are just the fantasy of Democrats. They don't want to believe that the Zionists who took over of the United States, have very nasty, nefarious plans for the future. I am talking about in a few months, in a few weeks. And what I want to underline in my conclusion is very simple. Because of this impasse we are talking about, right? No matter with which side we are, right? With which side we stand with. I am talking about an objective assessment of the situation. We are going to have such a serious, multi-layers crisis in the United States for the economy, for the society, and for politics, and above all, for the geopolitics, for the international scene. Because we can be sure once this war is over, we don't know when, but after that, Trump will completely break down NATO, right? We can be sure about that. NATO cannot survive through what Trump is planning to do because of that. Trump is extremely angry against NATO, as you can see in this post on the social truth. So he was talking about the fact that they didn't want to participate in this, right? And we remember that, and we are, take care of them somehow. Why? Because everything is falling apart. And don't forget our theoretical explanation that I developed a few days ago. I said that this is not the war that is creating, generating, and intensifying the crisis. The crisis has generated the war. All right. So that's why, with or without war against Iran, of course, the Abrahamic capitalism was doomed and condemned to fall apart. Okay. So what the war is doing is just an attempt of the Zionists who dominate this Abrahamic capitalism in order to get away from the collapse, at least for a few months, right? This is what they wanted to do. They wanted to get out from the crisis. And now you can see that because of the war, not only the crisis is not postponed, but anticipated, precipitated. And that's the idea. The idea is to have even sooner than what could be the result of a normal course of crisis for capitalism, a lot of negative consequences here in the United States, and consequently on the global economy, and of course later we are going to have it for Israel, right? Because these are, don't forget that, these are the entities, United States and Israel, these are the entities that don't want to follow a rational, normal, conventional course of existence. They want to create the extra situation where they are able to get profit, to get more and more the other countries' natural resources. So that's why they try to run off the reality, and the reality is that you have to review your system, you have to redistribute wealth, you have to restructure the economy, and so on. So they don't want to do that. They want just to suck more and more profit, money, and everything by whatever is possible. But in all ways possible. This is what they want to do, and they are really taking to heart. They are taking it seriously. They want really to destroy, if necessary, the planet in order to get more and more profit for their little minority, for the God's chosen people. Right? That's Zionism. That's the idea of having a racial supremacy over all the human beings. We are talking about 9 billion people would be, affected, would be completely impacted by a few millions, those who are the chosen people of God. That's the racial supremacy. And President Trump, as someone who had been deeply and during all his lifespan corrupt, right? Completely corrupt, morally, economically, and socially. Of course, he was the best agent that the Zionists could find in order to, move forward with this filthy, anti-rational, anti-human agenda. This is what they are doing. So from this moment, we can ask ourselves what we have to do, you know, on the grounds of all these dark future, gloomy future that is waiting for us. As I always told you guys, we don't have any other choice but resisting, resisting, and resisting. And in order to make resistance, we have to organize. Right? We have to organize ourselves in such a way that we can thwart this satanic plan. This is what we have to do. We have to impede the realization of this project. And we can do that, of course. If we are organized, if we are determined, if we have the knowledge, right, the consciousness, the awareness, if we know exactly what is at stake, because what we have in the balance is the future of the planet, is the future of 9 billion people. And if we don't take it seriously, if really we don't take it to heart, I am pretty sure that at a given moment it would be very late, or let's say too late, to reverse that, to do whatsoever. That's why I laugh at what the Democrats are telling us for 2029. I am pretty sure till the end of 2026 we are going through a hell just in the coming weeks and months. Really, in the United States and across the world, we are going through the hell. I'm pretty sure. I don't have any doubt about that. Let me just finish with this another article of Daily Mail talking about food rationing. Food rationing, panic buying, planes grounded, and an economic hammer blow for worse than COVID. What is taking shape, in front of us would be something much, much worse than what we have experienced during the COVID-19 pandemic. All right? It says economists explain nightmare scenario that could be just how much? They were talking about 2029, right? The stupids. So look at this. They are telling us economists explain nightmare scenario that could be just weeks away due to Iran war. Weeks, guys, not months, not nothing else. Just in one part of this article, they are talking about an assessment of the Bank of America. Look, Bank of America has warned European gas prices could surge from around 29 euros, 29 euros, like 31 dollars, to as high as 500 euro, from 29 euro to 500 euro, from 31 dollars to $510. So this is one of the consequences for the coming winter for Europe. And if you go to this article, you will see a lot of details, regarding the gas prices here, regarding the oil prices, and talking about a catastrophe that is waiting. Here it says that in Dubai and Oman, Oman's Murban, where the tankers are sold, it's a matter of 170 a barrel. 170. And of course, we are talking about right now and in a few weeks it would be 200, $250, and so on. So after that, you don't have any control. You don't have any possibility to reverse that. So we will be going to a global economic crisis, and from the moment the collapse starts, believe me, millions and millions of people will pay with their life the price of this Epstein class war, the Zionist war, the Trump war. All right, thank you, and I hope that you can share this video if you want, in order to just pass this message that everything could be under control if we, the social actors, if we, the people from all walks of the life, intervene actively, getting organized, and then being present really in the field of action, right? It's not enough to talk about that. You have to take action in such a way that we can stop this total madness of the Zionism and the United States to destroy the planet. Thank you very much for watching this video. See you in the next one.